Every year in May, there's an incredible audio show called Munich High End, where you got to hear all the top-tier audio gears side by side. I'm fortunate that I was there in 2022 and 2023. This video is my subjective take on the headphones and audio gears that I enjoyed and remembered from the show. I started my tour with Final Audio. The Star is a mock-up of the upcoming X8000 headphone that's a super light version of their flagship D8000. It is very light indeed, but the full metal headband and the composite ear cups will definitely bring a very different experience from the D8000. The D8000 still sounds amazing pairing with the Copland DAC215 tube amp. Aside from the relative heavyweight, this combo is among my second most favorite headphones across the show. For IEMs, Final showcases the new A5000. Compared to the A4000 I owned, the A5000 sounds more matured and rounded, less bright but loses the super wide soundstage. So personally, I still prefer the A4000 and A8000 sound, knowing the potential issue with sibilance. Final Audio also brings some high-end STAX electrostatics. The SR-X9000 has incredibly realistic reproduction of instruments and the best micro details I've ever heard. At over 6,000 euros before tax, these are not inexpensive, but compared to the 28,000 euros Warwick Acoustics Aperio system that received many good reviews, I could not hear a big difference. I then tried out the Audeze LCD-5 and liked them too. I found them in a similar tier as the final D8000s that most people would probably like their tunings. On the Audeze stand, they have some very expensive NARA gears. But I also listened to the LCD-5 and LCD-X with the Chord Qutest+Anni elsewhere and liked them still. Then there's the famed ZMF. They do sound lush and punchy, but going this direction, I like Meze more. Like in 2022, Astell&Kern had a huge stand and it is a perfect place to hear a lot of top-tiered headphones side by side. I got to hear the Abyss Diana again, and this time I can hear the micro details that many reviews praised. However, it is still hard to get a proper suit due to Diana's headband design. It is definitely a headphone that one should try before purchase. Another headphone worth mentioning is the well-known Sennheiser HD800s. In today's headphone landscape, the soundstage of the HD800s isn't that impressive after all. However, its capability of realistically reproducing the timbre of the instruments is still top-notch. There are many exciting sounding headphones, but when playing orchestra music, few sound as accurate as the HD800s. I also heard the HD600 series, including the new 660S2. I did not find them very impressive. The crazy RAAL SR-1a was still the most quirky headphone in the show. It is sound the closest to speakers though, and despite the looks, I think it's actually a comfortable headphone. Their newer headphones were unfortunately way less impressive in terms of build and sound. For DCA, I liked the Stealth quite a lot in 2022. However, it did not strike me as much in 2023. Same for the open version called Expanse. There's a zone for Chinese hi-fi products like the Moondrop Prism and Venus, X-Duo amps, and some dongles. I listened to the famed topping amps again and still find it sounding quite plain and dry. Like in 2022, the most interesting Hifiman products are usually not at the Hifiman booth, and this time it's the Auris booth that brings a Hifiman Susvara. It is a very smooth sounding headphone that most people would probably like too. Next to Hifiman is the DCS booth. DCS produces some of the best DACs and amps in the world, and its tiny booth is usually the place for trying out the pinnacles of the audio world, even against systems that are multiples of their prices. I got to hear their new LINA stack, but still found the Bartók more pleasing, only to realize that it's the new Bartók Apex. One of the interesting headphones to feature there was the Yamaha YH5000SE. It was a real disappointment. The soundstage was narrow, the timbre wasn't quite right, the sound wasn't too exciting, even on a €10,000 system. Finally, my favorite, Meze Audio. I spent quite some time listening to the full lineup. The Empyrean remains my favorite headphone, and it sounded amazing on the DCS system. It also sounded great even out of an 8K digital player. The Elite might be a more neutral or technically more impressive headphone, but my preference remained with the Empyrean. It was more enjoyable both with solid-state amps and with tubes. The 109 was a surprise. During audition and swapping gears, at one point I thought I was listening to the Empyrean pairing to the Mytek Brooklyn DAC, only to realize that it was a 109 when I put down the headphone. Now that the Empyrean 2 has been released and widely praised, I'm very curious how that sounds like. Here comes the other honorable mentions, Chord. They have a very tiny stand this year. The Qutest DAC and any amp sound amazing with most large headphones. The new Mojo 2 might be quite good, but one can definitely hear the difference even by moving up to the aged Hugo 2. HiFi showcases a new high-end system called iCan Phantom. I'm not sure whether it sounds better than the iDSD signature though. In general, I think most people will find HiFi's tuning enjoyable even with the more accessible iDSD. The Focus Utopia is another headphone that I really like. It feels fast and more neutral, but still very enjoyable to listen to. HiFi Rose. Their RA180 has so much drama. Just look at it. Lastly, on the speaker side, there were a lot of ultra expensive systems. To be frank, I do not get it with all the crazy looking horn speakers that sold for millions. For both 2022 and 2023, I find the Linn system noticeably better. They play the robot from Warwick in 2022, and it was an unforgettable experience. That's about it. Thank you very much for watching.